Right. So at Omni Local Business Network, we offer you a chance to present your business to the group. You can use this time any way you want. So if you want to talk about butterflies, well, we know, as you know, a shed load about butterflies. What I would rather know is what you do, if you're able to do what you say you can do, and so I can build confidence and refer you, which is what we are all here about. So if you do want to have a pitch platform, I'm afraid the next one is in the 22nd of April. So, and I'm hoping we'll be physical by then. So today we've got Dave Allen. Dave, the floor is yours, mate.
Good morning, everybody. So just a quick, I just noticed I've got the same shirt on. Trust me, it's been washed. Anyway, so this is a little bit about my story. I've taken the music out because I've been told that the music's a bit spoily. So, you know, this is actually roughly 20 years ago when I started Herbalife, got on the products. But at that time, I was actually unemployed. I was signing on the dole, Clapham Junction, not at the station, job centre nearby. And there was an ad on a paper saying, work from home. At the time, it was the worst time of my life. I was feeling so low, I was out of work, didn't know what was going to happen. And I was very negative, angry and bitter. So I wasn't really the best candidate for this type of business, really. But I did get on the products. And you know what? The products don't care what you think about them. If you actually use them properly, you get a fantastic result, which I did. But until I worked on my mindset and my attitude, like back in those days, listening to tapes, remember tapes, and getting around positive people, which was a challenge at the time when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling down, getting around positive people don't feel good, but eventually it rubs off. Jim Rohn would say, who are you around? What are they doing to you? And is that okay? And I was around people signing on the dole and they were very negative. So getting around positive people started to change my mindset. And I did get back into work. And another event at that time, I remember my son, who was 10 at the time, came to stay with me. And I was living in this dingy bedsit in Battersea, and he was sleeping on this old flea-bitten couch. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't have him remembering me like this. This is not how it's going to be. I didn't know how I was going to change it, but I just knew it wasn't going to stay like that. So if you're in a place, and maybe you have been, where you're not happy where you are, when you make that decision and you really make it internally, things will start to change. I didn't know what was going to happen, but things changed. And 12 years later, he came down to Heathrow, saw me up on stage, getting an award as one of the top people in the company, which was not a vision I had, but I just knew it wasn't going to be where I was. So let's start off at the beginning. Herbalife, 1980, February. So we've been going 42 years. And like many things, started out of tragedy. Mark Hughes, his mum, was an actress in Los Angeles, always dieting, taking slimming pills and amphetamines to speed up her metabolism, suppress her appetite. And at the age of 36, took an accidental overdose of sleeping pills because she was taking them so she couldn't sleep, and died. He was 18 at the time. Dad had already left. What do you do when you're a teenager and you're on your own? You can go either way. However, Mark Hughes made it his mission to find a way to help people lose weight in those days and get healthy without resorting to drugs, and started selling it out of the boot of his car in plastic bags, white powder in plastic bags. I'm sure it looked a bit dodgy, but rest assured, they were all legal herbs, man. So since then, we're now in nearly 100 countries on the New York Stock Exchange. We've got huge charities all around the world. We sponsor lots of top athletes, as you can see. Even the Spurs ladies, I think the men need it a lot more, but Ronaldo, Virat Kohli, if you follow your cricket, lots of Olympic teams at the main Olympics a couple of years ago or last year. So the products are now far more than just about weight loss. And we've got science behind it, research, top doctors, a Nobel laureate, so many different people behind the products. We don't need to worry about the products in terms of their quality and how they're tested. And also, if you're an athlete like me, not that I get drugs tested, but if you were to get drugs tested, all the sports stuff are independently batch tested, so you're not going to fail a drugs test. So what I wanted to look at today was not so much the products, because that's not in doubt. We've been going for 42 years. We're the world's market leader in weight management and protein supplements. So there's no doubt about that. But the business, a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of traditional businesses fail through lack of cash. We never had that problem in Herbalife because we've not got all the traditional problems. But let's start off at the beginning. Most of us in here, I guess, started off in a job of some description, and we had a boss. And we may not have liked that boss. I'm sure all of us over time have had bosses we did not like. But what could we do about it? The only option was to leave, really. And who you work with, your colleagues, you might not like those either. And if you're not working, generally speaking, you don't get paid, or it's pretty minimal. Whereas in our business, you've got the flexibility, you choose who you work with, you don't have a boss, and you can fit it around what you're doing. Let's look at a student, which I mentioned earlier, we particularly look for. Now, when I was young, I know it's a long time ago, I got a grant, not this grant that's on the screen, but a grant, a loan, not a loan, rather a grant. So I didn't have to pay anything back. Today's students, they come out with a diploma or a degree, as I did, but they don't often get the job they want. Rarely do they get that. There's no guarantee of a job, but the one guarantee they're going to have is they're going to come out with tens of thousands of pounds worth of debt. The beauty of what we do is we can help those students actually earn while they're still at uni. And if they start early and really build it well, they can actually come out of university debt-free. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be simple. And the other thing they could also do is go straight into this full time if they wanted to, and never have a boss in their entire life. Now, in a normal business, you've got all the overheads of the premises, staffing costs, rates, rent, all of that stuff. In our business, we don't have that. You work around your current commitments. And here's something I often omit to say. When you're in our kind of business and you've got a job, you're paying tax in your job, PAYE. You can actually claim back tax legally without having to resort to Mike's services. You can actually get tax back from HMRC because of the tax that you're paying from your business expenses. And I did that for the first few years in my business. And unlike a normal business, we don't have to have staff, which is basically running an adult daycare session for most people. We can build a team with motivated people we don't employ. And we're looking for people better than us, actually. So every promise has a price. And if you want the lifestyle, if you want the income, if you want the flexibility, you're going to have to put the work in. If you buy a gym membership, it doesn't guarantee you a great body. You've got to go to the gym and do the work. But if you do the work long enough and consistently enough, you will get what you want. And in our business, we've got so much support there, structure in place of people wanting to help you succeed. The biggest thing you've got to do is work on yourself. That's the biggest job you've got in Herbalife. And if you do those things on the left-hand side, you can have the things on the right-hand side. Most people, actually, they might want the trappings of wealth, the car, the house, maybe more. But in real terms, they want the freedom. Money buys freedom. And also because of what we do as a business, you've got to be healthy because that's part of your job. So you're going to have the time, the money, and the health. How many people have that in reality? And looking at the so-called pyramid on the right-hand side, most people say that pyramid schemes are illegal anyway. But in a job, you start off at the bottom. You can't earn more than the people above you until you move up. And if there's space that's occupied, you can't move up at all. So you have to go somewhere else. In our business, you can earn more than those people many layers above you because it doesn't matter when you come in. It matters what you do and the work that you put in. I learned this early on. For things to change, I had to change. So if things aren't going well for anybody, whether it's you or people the only thing that you can change is yourself. And that's what I had to do. And in our business, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. So who am I looking for? Who are we looking for? So we're looking for someone with drive, as an analogy. Got this from Dr. Tom Barrett. You may have heard of him. Someone with the desire to change. Because if somebody doesn't have that desire to change their health, their relationships, their financial situation, nothing's going to happen. It's a bit like sex. Unless you get excited, nothing happens. Eh? And resilience, because in life and in Herbalife, since I've started Herbalife, I had challenges at the start. I've been through a divorce. My ex-wife went bankrupt and put all the debts on me. I didn't go bankrupt. I had the resilience to bounce back tens of thousands of pounds of debt that I had to pay back and didn't go bankrupt, even though it wasn't even my debt. But I had the resilience to what I've learned from Herbalife and the personal development to get through that. And we're looking for people with initiative as well, because although you're going to get great support, you have to be a self-starter. This is your business. So we need people that can do things for themselves, think for themselves, and someone who has a vision of where they want to be. In the Bible, it says, not that I'm a great expert on that, without vision, people perish. If people don't know where they're going, they're going to end up where they don't want to be. And we look for people that have a vision of where they want to be in life. And execution for the E, which is actually doing the do. If you don't do the work, all of the other stuff, the plans and everything else doesn't happen. You've got to do it. And we're looking for people that are dissatisfied with all those things there. Just if they're dissatisfied enough, they'll take action. and they could be desperate like me. They could even be very successful. We've got some people that already come to Herbalife already as millionaires, business owners, who recognize the power of this business. So how many times I hear this excuse, I'm just so busy, I haven't had time. I went to see the doctor the other day, get something from years, and I sent him a very few short videos to have a look at. He hadn't had time to look at me in 2 weeks. Really? Who controls his time? I actually sent him a message. Look at them when you're sitting on the loo, when you're shaving. Everybody can find the time. There's 168 hours in a week. If you divide it up, you can actually manage it. And people will say, people will either find a way or they'll find an excuse. And that's where the drive and the desire and the goals comes in. Because if they're not big enough, they'll find an excuse rather than a way. And the rusty nail story, which leads on to that, is, based in London, of course, because that's where I'm from. Guy's walking down the road and he can hear this dog howling every day. It drives him nuts. In the end, he can take no more. He knocks on the door of the guy where the dog is. He said, mate, what's going on? Is that your dog out the back? He says, yeah, come, I'll show you what's going on. So they go out the back. There's the dog sitting on lying on the veranda. And he said, mate, what is up with your dog? Why is he howling? He says, well, he's lying on a rusty nail. And he said, well, why doesn't he just get off? He said, because he's not in enough pain. And that's how most people live their lives. They're not in enough pain to move, to change whatever it is they want to change. So they just carry on. And we're looking for people that are in enough pain that want to move. That could be with their health. It could also be with their finances. Now, getting started with Herbalife, it's nuts, really. It's actually 37 quid now because they don't even charge you the delivery. A 90-day money-back guarantee for a business that has actually created more millionaires than any other company in the world. But the problem is, when it's so cheap, you can't even get a night out for 2 or even 1, depending on where you eat, for that kind of money. It's very easy not to do. As Jim Rohn would say, the things that are easy to do are easy not to do. And if you don't do it, you've got a shaker, you don't do anything, nothing happens. You haven't lost anything, but you haven't seen what you could have had you actually applied yourself consistently over time. The personal development that you'll get, the friendships you'll make. I've made so many friends, the travel opportunities, social events. We're social creatures and we're looking to get back out again. We've started our physical meetings and literally unlimited income potential, which doesn't discriminate based on age or background. I've mentioned before about my neighbour Dawn, 88, very healthy, earns about 20 grand a month. Not typical, but possible. And there's hundreds and probably actually thousands of stories similar to that, in terms of people who shouldn't be able to do what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway. So when I am talking to someone and they're looking at the opportunity, I'm guessing most people in here will have seen the film The Matrix. Basically, we're offering people a choice, an opportunity to change their life or stay as they are. So if you've seen the film, you'll remember that the blue pill, if you take the blue pill, you stay where you are. Nothing changes. You're not really happy with where you are, but you can tell yourself whatever you want. In there is the secret. If you've got enough motivation, you'll change. And if you have, you'll take the red pill and try and escape the matrix. And if you do it long enough and learn the skills and have the belief in yourself, because if you've seen the film, Neo couldn't do all those amazing things until he believed in himself. And that's the biggest thing you get from Herbalife is self-belief, self-confidence through other people helping you, even though often there's no financial benefit to them. You can become the person that you need to be to get where you want to get in life. So who do you know that would love to take that red pill? Because I'm looking for those people that want to change their lives. And along the way, if they're going to be successful, they will change and positively impact the lives of thousands of people. What kind of legacy is that to leave for someone? So it's Dave Allen, Herbalife Nutrition, helping people with their health and their wealth. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It was very, very well presented. I'm just going to stop the recording. If anybody is watching this video and you are got some questions, you're a bit curious about it, contact Dave Allen in all the details that's in the descriptions box underneath this video. Thank you very much. Right, stop.
John,